Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, as always, on behalf of Cantor and Clark. We just want to say welcome to BlockRoots, the place where we do crypto market analysis each and every week. You're going to see Cantor and Clark and I tag team up in videos. Again, there's going to be some good stuff out for him pretty soon, maybe even today, another margin trading tutorial that you'll want to watch. A lot of great information from Cantor and Clark. And if you don't know, he's probably one of the best educators out there. I may be biased, but he does a fantastic job taking difficult to understand topics and making it easy for anybody to learn. So just be on the lookout for that. We'll put out another video with him teaching more tutorials. Now, also today, we'll talk about Bitcoin as always. I want to take a look at the Chainlink and Tezos chart really fast. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance as well. Before we even get started too, I always want to say that nothing is financial advice. If you're not a part of this community yet, we would invite you to do so. All you have to do is click the red button on the YouTube channel. Click subscribe. What that's going to do is allow you to get notifications from us every time we put out a new video. As you can see, we keep putting out more and more videos for you guys to learn more about Bitcoin, to be updated in the market. And we think that it's really important to do so, to have sound technical analysis as well as non-sensational information. So you're going to find that here at BlockRoots. And heads up, before we talk about the markets, don't forget about Phemex.trade. That is our affiliate link to the Phemex exchange. This platform was developed by multiple Morgan Stanley executives who, from traditional markets, anytime you see that, you really have to take that seriously, because with this platform they've developed, it's actually the fastest platform out there as far as crypto exchanges right now, over 300,000 transactions per second. So you don't really have to worry about the overloads, the issues with lagging, making sure that you get your trades in whenever you put it into the order book. So make sure that you check out Phemex Exchange. We've been really impressed so far. We've actually met with the executive team and just really getting an idea of all the improvements that they plan, as well as putting a couple of more crypto assets, really popular crypto assets, for you to be able to trade derivatives on in the upcoming week. So look out for that. It's really exciting. So I encourage you to check it out. But let's go ahead. We'll talk about Bitcoin and this multiple day pullback that we've seen over the past 2 days that has taken around 7.5% off the books here from the local top, over $10,000. Now, again, we're in this downward trend, right? We're in this downward channel. And a lot of times with these macro patterns we see in Bitcoin, they don't always work out. But for this trend, it's actually been doing quite well as far as this channel, right? Again, if you go to the 4-hour chart, you're going to notice that it's hit off the top, it's bounced off the bottom a few times, and even today, Bitcoin price wasn't able to get up above the midline of the channel. I actually put a short in, and I can talk to you a little bit more about that and why I did that. And so my thought process for that, if you guys want to learn a little bit more, is that I do use volume profile here on the right-hand side. I've talked about volume profile quite a bit. And I saw that this area, which is the point of control in this area, Bitcoin wasn't able to get above that. And that actually was confluence for the midline of this channel. So those two together, Bitcoin wicked up above that. Now, typically what's going to happen, a great place to jump in, not always, but what you'll see is that if you see a trend happening and then Bitcoin bounce up, especially a downtrend, and Bitcoin bounce up and wick above the previous local high right here, what tends to happen is people jump in. They want to get short, but what they do is they go short late. They put stop losses above the recent high, the local high, and then big players push the price back up. You notice this wick above to stop them out, get some liquidity, and then push the price continually down. And when I saw that, it didn't close above the midline, and then it didn't close above the POC right here on the 1-hour chart. I did jump in around the 660, 640 area, and then I was able to ride that down around $300. And again, when it comes to margin trading, I never use high leverage, 2 to 3x leverage, and that's it. I do use risk management as well to put a stop loss in too. But if you do even have one Bitcoin, if there's a $300 drop such as today, 3x leverage is going to get you $900. If you're a multi-Bitcoin trader where you have enough Bitcoin stacked up where you can trade multiple Bitcoin, I mean, you're looking at multi-$1,000 moves, just a couple $100 down. So Bitcoin has bounced again right here, but again, I'm not too convinced by this, and I think that we can continue to go down and see the downward of the channel. Now back to the daily chart. I did talk about 93.50, this area right here. If we can't sustain this, that I felt like we could possibly go down and see 8,600. Again, this is because of the high volume node. So Bitcoin could certainly bounce at this area down here around 9,200. And another thing that I'm looking at too, before we even break down, if we can actually bounce off this recent low, okay, on the daily chart, which is around 9150-ish, okay, I'll just go ahead and say that. If we can bounce there, that's almost confluence with this downward channel. I think that we can continue to kind of come back up. That might just be another lower high. Notice how we're putting in lower highs here. Typically, you don't want to focus on a trend change until you get the weekly. Now, for the weekly though, it did close okay. It did close up above this area around 9,500 right here, but notice now that Bitcoin is below that area again at 9,300. 9,550 was the area that we really wanted to sustain. Now it's a long way to the end of the week, until the end of the weekly close, right? We have multiple days, 5 days until then. Bitcoin could certainly bounce before then, and so that would continue to be a kind of sideways ranging before maybe we continue on up. But at this point in time, if Bitcoin does close below 9,500, if we do close even lower at the most local weekly support, then yeah, I'm going to start to turn somewhat, quote, bearish. And I'm going to think that, okay, next is 8,600. So I'm not too worried about looking past 8,600 at this point in time. If that starts to happen, we'll certainly jump on YouTube and talk to you guys a little bit more about what we think is going to happen. There is some specific spots below where I think Bitcoin could totally bottom out at and bounce from there, and I'll talk about that in another upcoming video. But at this point in time, I'm looking, taking it level by level, 9,300, local recent low in the daily chart and a weekly chart around 9,150. If it breaks down from there, then 86 to 8,700. I do believe that 9,150, that area, maybe 9,100 could be a decent buy area for a long or as well as a spot buy. But again, you want to put a stop loss in place if some reason the big players continue to push the price down for Bitcoin. But right now, we don't necessarily have a trend change yet on the weekly. It's looking close, but with a weekly close at this level, yes, I would start to get more of a bearish bias. Now, if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, what you're going to notice is it has bounced around 62% here. I did leave this arrow right here back from, it was earlier this week where I talked about Bitcoin dominance, and as we were kind of going down to this area, I said, okay, make sure to look for this area that it's likely going to bounce up. But on the daily here, we did see Bitcoin dominance kind of pick up a couple of percentile. So what does that mean? Well, really what that means is that after a couple of months of Bitcoin money flowing to the altcoins, people are taking profit, going back into the store value of Bitcoin. And so you're going to see that dominance continue to kind of go up as money flows back into that. Now, some altcoins continue to perform really well. Algorand has performed really well. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but I've been talking about Link and Tezos, of course, two of the hottest altcoins at this time. When it comes to Link, there were some certain areas that I was taking a look at as far as horizontal resistance areas and volume profile. And again, it did bounce off a little bit higher than what I thought it would here, kind of in the middle of its range. So again, Chainlink is kind of staying in between here around 354. If it does go below $3 for me, that is a buy. Now, again, it depends on how far back Bitcoin can go, because if Bitcoin continues to pull back and does go down back to 8K or possibly lower, we don't know that yet, right? Take it level by level. But if it were to do that, it could get lower than under $3. I think anything below that is definitely a buy. I think that it's not going to get much lower than that, but it's all a possibility. Nothing is immune. I know there's a lot of fans of Link out there, but nothing is immune to a pullback, right? All assets sell off. You can talk about how you think the fundamentals are great, but in the end, the market decides the price, and those are the ones who hold the most of the asset. So just be aware of that. Tezos is the same picture here, right? We did see Tezos kind of come down at this price cluster here. It did bounce off around 2. For me, anything below that, I mean, right now we're already under $3. A lot of people didn't think that we could get back underneath there after hitting over 4 on Tezos. Anything under $2 for me is probably going to be a buy at this time. Again, depending on the price of Bitcoin and what it does, that's going to be a big determinant when it comes to any type of altcoins and scaling back into those. So, again, if Bitcoin continues just to pull back hard, I'm not really interested in altcoins because they actually depreciate a lot faster than Bitcoin. And so just be on the lookout for that. Link and Tezos both. I mean, anything under $3 for Link, under $2 for Tezos is a definite buy for me. The dominance has picked back up for Bitcoin, which is good. And then when it comes down to it, we're still not at a weekly trend change yet, but where we are at is still in this downward channel. If we can hold above 93.50 for a daily close. I do have hope that it could be a potential bounce. If not, I'm hoping that this area right down here around 91.50 holds 9200, this downward channel. If not, I'm thinking that it's going to go down to 86 to 8700. For me, seeing the level of interest there, I would certainly long that or buy that area. And for a bounce below that, we won't talk about that yet. It needs to get down quite a bit. With that said, that's really it for me. I wanted to give a quick market update. Be on the lookout with more tutorials from Cantor and Clark. That's going to come out really soon. Again, if you have any questions, just let us know. You can find us on Twitter, Cantor and Clark, and Josh_Rager. If you've not yet subscribed yet, we'd love to have you a part of the community. Feel free to do that. You'll get $100 of Bitcoin. You'll be in a $100 of Bitcoin giveaway if you comment or engage below. So we'd love to hear back from you. We do that each and every week. We're going to continue to put out a lot more videos in the coming week. On behalf of Cantor and Clark, we just want to say thanks again for watching. You guys make sure to trade safe and effectively, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.